A bastard, ugly, and hated wizard ends up falling in love with an elf slave he spent his entire fortune to buy, but may have to give her up because of an event that will change his life forever. In ancient times, there was a man who lived in an abandoned and dilapidated castle in a forest known as the Lost Forest. This man was a scoundrel wizard who was hated and feared by the common people because of his arrogant style and foul-mouthed tongue. One day, a girl was being harassed by a weird guy, and when he started approaching her, she slapped him, which caused his skin to be removed from his face, and he looked like a freak. So he took out his knife and ripped her clothes and told her that fortunately for her, he does not intend to assault her and all he wants is to get the skin of her face as a stimulating material. While she was screaming, Zagan appeared and grabbed the weirdo by the head and told him that he was disturbing him with his constant screaming and that this area belonged to him. The weirdo felt he was in trouble for being in a magician's yard and disturbing him. He tried to suggest that he'd share the results of his research with him in exchange for sparing his life, but he soon ended up dead after Zagan smashed his head. Then he was surprised that the girl was still there after she fainted from the violence and blood, so he realized that he had exaggerated a little. Then he decided to use his magic to return everything to the way it was without blood in the hope that the girl will think that everything that happened was a dream when she regains consciousness. Then he noticed that she wears a cross on her neck and guessed that she might be from the church, which in turn is hostile to magicians after its adherents set themselves up as God's emissaries on earth. He decided to send her via teleportation to a town road so that any traveler could find her and pick her up along the way, but his spell was somehow being interfered with, and that's when his pathetic friend Barbados showed up. He asked him to stop interfering with his magic, and when he wondered what he was doing, he told him that he was punishing a villain who made a mess in his yard. Barbados approached the girl and found that she had a large amount of magical energy in her body and asked him if he intended to sacrifice her. Zagan told him that sacrificial magic was not his style and then moved her to another place. Barbados was furious that he didn't leave her for him to use in his spells, while Zagan decided to go home and get some rest. Barbados suggested that he modify his brain with adrenaline, but Zagan told him that this is what makes him look bad all the time. But Barbados insisted that this is what helps them maintain their health and gives them a longer life, even though magicians do not live more than 1,000 years. Then he told Zagan that one of the 13 demon lords had died yesterday and that there would be a huge public auction today in Steinoides of all his property, both legal and illegal, so he ended up accompanying Barbados to the auction instead of going to sleep. On their way, he finds out that he told him because he wants to borrow money from him for the auction since he's the only person he knows who can lend him money, so he decides to buy the demon lord's legacy for himself. Barbados is furious and tells him that he was the one who told him about the auction and suggests that he compensate him with something else and maybe help him meet some hot women. Zagan didn't care much for women as he thought they always caused trouble. They continued on their way to the auction hall, and when they arrived, Barbados told him that there were a bunch of famous people here such as Chimeras, Aka Blackblade, Gremory the Witch, and Valifor. Zagan wondered who had the power to decide on the matter, and he told him that the 12 rulers were discussing the matter among themselves to choose a new ruler. On the other side, Gremory noticed the presence of Zagan, who is also considered a candidate to be the 13th demon lord, despite being an ordinary young man without a title. And when the auction was about to end, a final item was announced, which is the most distinctive among the governor's possessions, and when the cover was revealed, Zagan was stunned upon seeing it, as it is an elf from the sacred land of Norden. Zagan started to feel his heart racing for some reason, and he couldn't take his eyes off it as he saw it was so beautiful. And when the auction started at 10,000, Zagan decided to spend his fortune on it and bought it for 1,000,000 gold pieces amidst everyone's amazement. At that time, Zagan felt that he wanted to help her and see her smile for a reason he didn't know, so he rushed to pay such an exorbitant amount of money to secure her as if he had found something he didn't know he was looking for. When Barbados was surprised at his recklessness and asked him what he intended to use it for, he gave him a horrified look before heading to the auction block. When he looked directly at the elf, he was confused and didn't know what he was supposed to say. He wondered if she was okay since she looked like a statue in front of him, but the barterman told him that she had an amazing ability. She was unaffected by normal magic. Zagan felt that she was interesting and wanted to talk to her, not realizing that he fell in love with her at first sight. When he took her to his castle, he kept staring at her, thinking about how he could start a conversation with her until the elf broke the silence by asking her how he intends to eliminate her. Zagan was surprised to hear her sweet voice, and at the same time he was confused by her understanding that he bought her for a sacrifice or something, and he realized that she might have guessed that because of the furniture in the castle that belonged to the old owner who did not clean it because he was lazy. So he tells her that he doesn't intend to take her life, he needs her alive, and she thinks he's going to torture her, and then he realizes that things are going badly between them. So he introduces himself and tells her that he's not interested in torture, even though he's a wizard. Then he felt annoyed with himself for having trouble asking her name until he heard her tell him that her name was Naphilia. He admired her name inwardly. When he asked her what her surname was, she told him that she had no family, and he thought that not having a surname was common among the elves. Naphilia told him she was a cursed child. He was surprised when she stood up and revealed her lower body to tell him she was still a virgin. He blushed and looked away, while Naphilia thought he was questioning her parentage because he was worried about her value as a subject for his experiments. He told her that he had no intention of experimenting on her. When she asked him why he bought her, he couldn't find a logical reason to tell her, only that she didn't need to know. He then decided to give her a room in his castle, and Ophelia thought that this room would be her grave. Zagan realized that the reason she was always thinking so pessimistically was because of her status as a slave, and that she had always been told that she would probably end up as a test subject or sacrificial lamb, and he thought that she might not have a home to return to if he thought of releasing her. And then he remembered his own miserable past where he had no family, couldn't remember his parents, ended up living in garbage and being humiliated all the time, and used to be called Zagan even though it wasn't his real name. Then he came to his senses and told Ophelia not to think about death too much, and that he bought her because he needed her and decided that she would live with him inside the castle, and then took her to her room after he thought of giving her a room with a nice view outside. As they were going upstairs, Ophelia almost tripped, but Zagan caught her quickly, then felt embarrassed for getting too close to her and only held her hand to help her up the stairs. When they reached the room, he found that it was an execution chamber containing many skulls, so he quickly closed the door and used his magic to blow it up from the inside and remove its contents, then justified it as a trap to protect the castle from enemies. When he exaggerated his magic inside the room, Ophelia was amazed at the extent of his power, while he felt that the room had become lonely and would not serve the required purpose. Then he found Ophelia heading towards the balcony to look at the moon, and then asked him to let her stay in this room and that she feels satisfied because it is the room that he prepared for her. Zagan agreed to let her stay and was surprised when she thanked him, as it had been a long time since anyone had thanked him for something. The next day, Zagan felt exhausted because he stayed up all night watching Ophelia fall asleep after he made her sleep next to his chair, in addition to starving, and after a while, Ophelia woke up and found herself covered with Zagan's sweater. Then Zagan went towards her after he brought some food and drink for them, and when she said good morning to him, he stood frozen in place and felt shocked that he did not know what he was supposed to say when someone said good morning to him, so he found himself telling her that he had brought food for them, and then he felt frustrated with himself because he could not even say a proper greeting. Afterwards, they sat down to eat together, and he was thinking about his realization that he was a loser with a social disorder, that he couldn't communicate with others because he had been isolated from people for so long, while Ophelia wondered if he was eating the same food as her, since it was the kind of food that would be given to a slave like her. He realized that the food he was eating was more like pig feed for her, and noticed that she seemed more concerned than upset about the food, so he thought to himself that he had been used to eating such food in the past, so he didn't care about it before. He wondered what normal people usually eat. Ophelia summoned up the courage to suggest that she cook something for him, and Zagan was shocked by the fact that she could cook, and that he was about to eat home-cooked food for the first time in his life. They decided to go shopping together in the city and buy some good food. As they left the house, Zagan remembered that he was so broke after spending his entire fortune to buy it that he couldn't get a carriage to drive them, so they had to walk to the market on foot. On their way, Zagan kept thinking of ways to make money. He thought about getting rid of the castle and opening a restaurant to stay with Ophelia, but his thoughts were soon interrupted when the cart driver was attacked by bandits. He realizes that Ophelia is too scared to notice them, so he decides to help the driver and attack the bandits to make her feel safer, and attacks them with a thunderbolt. When the thieves realized his presence, they thought to attack him before he could use another spell. As they rushed at him, he was able to teach them a lesson effortlessly. Then another magician appeared, and it turned out that the thieves had already hired him to protect them. The magician then used a large-scale flame spell to inflict as much damage as possible, but Zagan quickly neutralized it, much to his amazement. Zagan then stepped on his magic circle to gain control of it, and the magician ended up turning into ashes after he stunned him. When he gave the thieves an evil look, they could only run away. He looked at Ophelia and saw that she was in a state of shock. He wondered if he had done something wrong and tried to reassure her that the thieves were not as harmless as she thought they were. Then he was surprised to see people crowding around him and thanking him for saving them, and the carriage driver offered to accompany them on their way to protect them, and he would pay him money in return. He thought it was a good opportunity to get to the market faster and make money by protecting them. He thought it was easier than he expected. All he had to do was walk around and get rid of the bad guys for the money. Then he remembered that usually it was the wizards who were the bad guys, but it made him feel a little reassured that he had just won the favor of the people. And when he accompanied them with Ophelia, she asked him why he had saved them, and he told her that it was an unintended consequence. Then he sat there thinking that he just wanted to show her that she didn't need to be afraid of thieves. Then it occurred to him that this might be his chance to get her attention by saying something nice to help her open up to him, but he ended up arrogantly telling her that all he had done was teach some scum a lesson. After they arrived at the market, Zagan decided to buy Ophelia's daily necessities, and when he gave her the freedom to choose what she wanted, she told him she'd settle for anything old he gave her. He thought it made sense that she had no material or personal desires due to everyone treating her like a slave, so he thought they should go to a clothing store, and when the shopkeeper, Manuela, greeted them with a worried expression, he realized she was not happy to see him as a magician. He asks her to give him clothes that fit Ophelia, and she approaches her, admiring her beauty, but soon the place is silent for a few seconds after she notices the collar around her neck, but decides to take her to choose a suitable outfit for her. He was shocked to see Ophelia dressed so scandalously, and when he scolded Manuela, she told him that she was trying to find something to suit his his taste. Nephilia is embarrassed and asks him not to look at her for too long. He asks Manuela to find a normal outfit, so she puts Nephilia in a traditional maid's outfit, but it has many features. As they leave the store, Manuela follows, whispering that it's good to have a master who cares for her, which surprises her. They head to a blacksmith's shop where he removes the collar from her neck. Curious, he tells her that she looks as if she still belongs to the former demon lord. The blacksmith found that the collar was reinforced with a magic spell that was beyond his ability to undo. He whispered to Zagan that he was sure the collar was booby-trapped and could kill her if not removed properly, and that it was best to use the original key. Zagan remembered that her collar didn't come with a key in the auction and guessed that it might be somewhere inside the castle of the former demon lord, so he started to leave the store, and when he wanted to pay the shopkeeper, he refused to take it and told him that he had saved him and his daughter a year ago when they were attacked. After leaving the store, Zagan felt uncomfortable because people were unusually friendly to him and thought that Nephilia's presence might have made a difference, while the shopkeeper remembered that he was so scary in the past that everyone avoided talking to him, unlike the way he is now. Afterward, Zagan and Nephilia spent their time shopping for food until the sun was about to set, when he decided not to bother cooking after they got home late and ate dinner at a nearby restaurant. Nephilia wondered if he wanted to remove her collar and if he didn't think she would run away if he removed it. He thought that she had no reason to stay with him after the collar was removed, and at the same time he couldn't take it off at the moment. Then he noticed that she didn't know how to use a knife and fork to eat, while Nephilia remembered that she never ate with the other masters and considered herself lucky if she got one meal a day. It was then that Zagan realized the reason he had been drawn to her at the auction. She resembled him in the past, before he gained power when he was desperate, and he told her to eat whatever she wanted, however she wanted. When she started eating the food, she couldn't stick her fork in it, which confused her, so she thought of using a spoon instead. The food was well received, so Zagan started eating his food, but was soon embarrassed when he couldn't use a fork like her. He was shocked to see her offer to feed him with the spoon she had just put in her mouth. He tried to bite into the food without touching the spoon, and then she asked him to let her do things she thought would benefit him. He agreed to her request and then used his fork, blushing, to feed her as she had done to him. They noticed the customers staring at them as if they were lovers and left the restaurant as soon as they finished dinner. On the other side, a knight was wandering around absent-mindedly, and when she arrived home, she didn't realize that she had been saved by a magician a few days ago. Then she remembered when Zagan had saved her from that monster and felt that his look at the time expressed his loneliness. Her thoughts were interrupted by Lord Cloudwell, and she expressed her shame that she had failed to protect 4 holy knights in her mission to eliminate the mages. He told her that she should be proud to be back alive after avenging them. However, her mission is not over yet, as the church has discovered that the wizard Zagan is responsible for kidnapping young women for experimentation. The knight was shocked to hear this and thought that there might be a misunderstanding, but Cloudwell told her that even if he had nothing to do with it, he should be tried as a sorcerer, and then the knight decided to take over the investigation of this task, and Cloudwell did not mind being assigned to her as the leader of the knights known as Chastil. Zagan woke up after having a bad dream about his past and found Nephilia standing in front of him and telling him that she had prepared breakfast for them. He was surprised at the idea that she waited for him to wake up so that they could eat together, and he gathered the courage to say good morning to her, which made him feel honored. When he entered the dining hall, he was amazed to see it clean and shiny and remembered that it was like a graveyard before. When he found bread on the table, he thought he had already bought it, but he was surprised when Nephilia told him that she had baked it herself. He told her that he had never met anyone who could bake bread so well, and when he noticed the movement of her ears, he realized that she was indirectly expressing her pleasure in his praise. And then he found that she had prepared only enough food for him, so he asked her to have breakfast with him and share his share. She thought she had prepared only one chair for him to sit on. He told her she could sit on his leg before realizing that what he had just said might make her see him as a creep. When she refused, he insisted that she come sit on top of him, which made her blush. When she expressed her embarrassment, he told her to make sure to set up a seat for her next time, and they began to feed each other, feeling warm. A few days later, Zagan was studying in his library, and when Nephilia entered, he wondered if elf magic was different from human magic. She told him that she didn't know how to use magic despite having an above-average energy level. He began to explain to her the meaning of the symbols and drawings in the books, and that each of them contained certain powers. He drew the simplest magic circle to explain it to her, and told her that anyone could use it by applying magical energy to the circle, and that he was careful to restrict his circle so that another magician could not take it over. Nephilia realized that wizards can break each other's spells, but it's not easy, Zagan said, because if a wizard can break the spells of others, he will become the most powerful of all, and no spell will work against him. She wondered if that meant that anyone could use magic as long as they knew how it worked. Zagan realized that she had talent and told her that knowledge is directly related to power for magicians, which is why they set traps. Then he told her to be careful not to touch anything while she was in the library. When she got confused, he told her he was joking, and she was happy that he talked to her for a long time for the first time. He felt embarrassed and told her that all he knew was magic, so that was the only thing he could talk about. She was curious to ask him what he wanted to do with the power, and he replied that he just wanted to survive since he was penniless and homeless as a kid and had to steal what he needed to survive and considered himself lucky to be alive. Then he ended up being captured by a wizard who wanted to use him as a sacrifice, but he was able to turn it around and take his life before he was killed, and that's when he realized he had to become stronger to survive. As he was talking to Nephilia, he sensed a group of people in the area around his castle and told her to make dinner while he dealt with the visitors, while Chastel was heading towards the castle with a group of knights. Chastel decided to use her holy sword to destroy the barrier, and Zagan appeared out of nowhere and scolded them for their rude behavior. When he noticed Chastel's sword, he realized it was one of the 12 holy swords that killed the demon lord. Then he looked at her and remembered that she was the girl he had rescued a few days ago, and thought that he wouldn't have let her go if he had known she was a knight. Then he attacked them with a lightning spell, and when one of the knights blocked it, he realized that their armor was fine and decided to fight them seriously, and when one of them lunged at him, he hit him with a thunderous blow that forced him to retreat and fall on top of his teammates. Then he told them to turn back now before their leader had to carry them back. Another knight rushed at him, but he ended up on the ground after Zagan sliced his blade in half. When Chastel was about to attack him, he warned her that he would crush his head if she moved a single step. She thought he was deliberately insulting them after losing to him, so he asked her to leave with her followers and spread the news of what happened to them in his castle to spread fear among everyone. But he soon found himself in trouble after Chastel realized that he had no intention of getting rid of them and decided to use her sword to annihilate him, and when he tried to block her with his magic, his circle was scratched, and he thought that she may have a legendary sword, but she is still young at Nephilia's age and does not have enough strength to defeat him. He continued to dodge her nonchalantly, which infuriated her. She seemed unworthy of a serious fight to him. He told her he wasn't good at attacking women. Over time, she despaired and wondered why someone like him would use magic on his hands. When he asked her if she thought using magic was a crime, she told him that it was a source of evil and the existence of magic caused people to be oppressed and suffer. And he told her that the same applied to her power, which she used to eliminate any magician weaker than her. She got angry and attacked him again. He put his foot on her sword and went on to say that there are many people who need magic to survive, and if her job is to go around crushing them, she has no right to talk about justice. Chastel decided to unleash her power and tried to plunge her blade into his body. When he caught it in his hands, she was able to pick it up and push it away with the sword, and he realized how powerful it was and how it affected the regeneration of his healing spell. He realized that he had no choice but to take her life, but he was surprised when she approached him and whispered to him to pretend that he had game ended at her hands, and told him that if he did not, he would be hunted by the church for life and that they might send a stronger knight next time. She advised him to fake passing away, give up magic, and live his life as a normal human being. He couldn't believe he was hearing this from a holy knight, so she told him that even though he pretended to be strong and wanted everyone to fear him, she saw a look of mercy in his eyes. Then she added that she had not forgotten that he had already saved her life, so she wanted to return the favor, and that was the best she could do. He thought that she was currently making a serious crime against the holy knights and risking everything she had to help him escape. Then he realizes that he can't run away without jeopardizing Nephilia's life. He sees her rushing towards him. He dodges Chastel and rushes to her as fast as he can before one of the knights attacks her and the spear hits his hand instead. Nephilia unleashed her power and decided to attack the knights who had harmed her master. She tied up the attacker with the roots of a huge tree. Zagan realized how strong she was and grabbed her to tell her to stop hurting him. After the knights retreated for the evening, Zagan sat with Nephilia in the castle, and after she bandaged his injured hand, he questioned her ability to use magic, and she told him that what had happened before had nothing to do with magic. He told her that it didn't matter what power she had. All that mattered was that she was still the Nephilia he knew. She was grateful and asked if she didn't seem scary to him, and he replied that he was just interested in learning more about her power. She told him that her power is based on magic, but it is a different kind of magic, not based on logical basis like his magic, but a supernatural power that allows one to utilize powers beyond the law of nature just by wishing. And she is one of the few who can use this power because she is a cursed child. Then she remembered that she had always been persecuted and bullied because of her cursed white hair, and Zagan realized the meaning of the look in her eyes, as if she was used to hearing someone tell her that she was not entitled to have feelings and desires because of her identity. She then went on to say that her village was invaded one day, and the villagers asked her to use her power to protect them as a reward for allowing her to live among them, but she was soon captured and ended up as a captive prisoner. She admitted that she felt happy to see the people who cursed her existence and rejected her dead, and thought that this is what they deserved. When she apologized for disappointing him, he told her that he would have game ended the entire village if he were her, and that she shouldn't think about people who were already dead, and told her that she needed to find the strength to continue living. Nephilia was surprised that he encouraged her to have strength, while Zagan remembered when he saved a girl from a group of thieves when he was young and told her that she had to become strong so that no one could take advantage of her weakness, and when she thought he was showing off his strength in front of her and wanted to tell her that weak people have no right to continue living, he felt that she had been treated like a spoiled and weak girl and did not want to become like her, so he dedicated his life to living to become stronger. He then approached Nephilia and grabbed her face. When she asked him if she was still allowed to stay at his house, he told her that he had already told her that he needed her and that he couldn't imagine his life without her after she used to make him breakfast every morning, and she hugged him, crying her eyes out to express her gratitude. After Nephilia calmed down, she apologized to him for acting rudely, while Zagan told her that he wasn't upset as she had never talked to him so much before, and and when she asked him about his hand, he felt that the pain had disappeared, and after removing the bandages, he found that his hand was back to normal. Then he realized that it was because he had just touched Nephilia and that she had a power stronger than his healing spell. When he thanked her, she was stunned and told him that this was the first time he had ever thanked her, leaving him in shock that he had never expressed his gratitude to her before. When it was time to go to bed, he found that she was still standing and staring at him while holding her pillow. When he asked her if something was wrong, she hesitated before telling him that she wanted to sleep with him, and he was shocked when he imagined what she might mean. Then he found her approaching him to tell him that she thought he would sleep better if he lay down, as he used to sleep in his chair in an uncomfortable position. He realized that she was speaking in good faith and wanted to share the only bed in the castle with him so that he could get a good night's sleep. He tried to convince her that he cannot leave the room because it is the center of his protection barriers and he must stay here just in case anything happens. Nephilia sat in front of him and he was surprised that she offered to hug her like a pillow, and he could not find a reason to refuse. He ended up lying on top of her legs, feeling a mixture of embarrassment and relief. When he asked her why she did it, she told him that she wanted to express her gratitude for letting him stay in his house after learning the truth about her magic. He put his hand on her head and wondered if she would be interested in learning magic, as she lacked better control over her power, which would help her defend herself in situations of danger, and he felt that she would surpass him based on her immense strength. She wondered if it would help her to be of help to him, and he replied that she already helps him a lot and was able to protect him from the knights, so she felt confident and told him that she wanted to learn magic to help him, and he told her that she was his student from now on. Then it occurred to her to talk to him about the story he had mentioned, and she felt that he was talking as if his strength meant that he did not understand the feelings of the weak, and she told him that even though he described it as nothing, she felt that it was painful for him as he seemed sad as he told her the story of saving the girl. She hugged him and told him that he wasn't as bad as he thought he was, and that she would never forget his kindness to her, even though he was a man of few words. His eyes began to sparkle with tears, and he closed them, thinking that it would be nice if they could have more moments like this together. The next day, Barbatos went to visit him after learning that the castle had been attacked by the knights, and was surprised that he was still alive despite facing the Holy Sword Maiden, and Zagan told him that she was strong and was able to destroy some of the barriers around the castle. While they were talking, he was shocked to see Nephilia serving him tea, and marveled that Zagan had not used her for any magic-related purpose until now, only to let her continue to live as a servant, so he told him that Nephilia is now his student. Barbatos thought that he was deliberately using her to enhance his power in magic and spells, which seemed like a good idea to him, while Zagan was furious that he spoke of her as a tool, and when he learned about her contribution to overcoming the knights, he realized why his backyard was so messed up. When Barbatos asks him if he aspires to become a demon lord, Zagan thinks that at first he was hoping to get the key, but now he sees it as the perfect opportunity to ensure Nephilia's safety and that no one will dare target her. He found it unlikely that he would be chosen to become a demon lord, as he had only been studying magic for 10 years and others had been practicing it for hundreds of years, but that wouldn't stop him from trying to earn a seat among the 13 lords. When he praised the quality of the tea Nephilia had prepared for them, Barbatos suspected that he might have taken a liking to her. He told him that he appreciated her as a student and was relieved that Zagan considered her a mere student and decided to leave. After he left, Zagan marveled that he had left without knowing why he had come in the first place. When Nephilia asked him if they were friends, he denied it and told her that she should choose her friends carefully or they would become a nuisance. He was surprised when she said that he seemed to be having a good time chatting with her. He thought she might be mistaken and told her that they should go and repair the barriers around the castle, as this would be a good opportunity for her to learn the basics of creating magic circles. As the days passed, Nephilia worked hard at studying magic while taking care of the castle, and Zagan noticed her progress and felt that living with another person was much more beautiful than he expected. And although she learned many magic spells, she still had difficulty controlling her power. A month later, Zagan received a surprise invitation from the 12 demon lords, forcing him to go to their secret headquarters in Kianwoods. When he arrived, he found them waiting for him and felt nauseous from the pressure and intensity of their magical energies. Then they told him that they thought he was a young man, but he was only a child, which made them realize that he was the youngest candidate. They stared at him for a while, and he wondered if the reason they had summoned him was to admire his appearance. Then one of the rulers told him that he had been chosen to become the ruler of the 13 demons, which made him shocked and even more stressed when the logo of the previous ruler he was supposed to inherit appeared, and he realized why they were invincible to ordinary wizards. Then he wondered why they chose him despite the existence of better and stronger than him, and they told him that despite his limited strength, no magician can eliminate him, and reminded him of the first magician who took his life, which he intended to use as a sacrifice, but he was able to take his life despite his strength exceeding him by far, and that this indicates that he was able to learn magic just by looking, and therefore he was able to create a unique magic. Zagan felt he was in trouble after they discovered his secret weapon of learning through sight and his ability to steal the knowledge and magic of others after their death, and the rulers told him that his power was worthy of a tyrannical demon lord who would force everyone to give him their magic and become the greatest magician in history over time. When he wondered if that meant he could take as much magic and knowledge from them as he wanted, they burst out laughing. The chief ruler told him to be careful because they could take more from him than he could take from them, and Nephilia came to mind. Then they told him that the demon lord's wrath was not limited to something as simple as destruction, but that they could erase everything he had ever known, be it human, matter, or memory, until he no longer existed. This was the power he would receive when he joined them, and he would be surrounded by a dark, abyss-like aura. Zagan realized that there were only two ways to go: join them or die in oblivion. He knew from the moment he decided to become a magician that he would never have a normal life, and all he could think about was that he would be forced to bring Nephilia into his dark world. Then he told them that he was willing to accept the position of Demon Lord on one condition. When they accepted his condition, he received the emblem of Governor 13 and officially became the Demon Lord, and the rest decided to give him his second name. When she noticed his pale face, he told her that he had become the Demon Lord instead of the previous ruler, and that he had obtained all of his possessions, including the key to her collar, which he didn't hesitate to use to free her, and Nephilia was shocked when he told her that he no longer needed her. Nephilia ended up outside the castle, sitting alone in a dark alley, lost in thought, then wondered that she was here when the last thing she remembered was making dinner for her master at home, and when she saw the broken collar next to her, she remembered that he had abandoned her and wondered that she didn't cry about it and just accepted it. Nephilia sat alone for some time until Chestil crossed her path. When she saw her, she realized that it was her time to die and decided not to resist and let Chestil do whatever she wanted with her, while Chestil was confused and told her that she wasn't going to do anything. When passersby heard the commotion, they thought Chestil was harassing Nephilia, including Manuela, who didn't hesitate to come to Nephilia's defense and jumped in between them and started scolding Chestil for bullying her. Then everyone started defending Nephilia, and things escalated to such an extent that the three of them were confused, and Chestil ended up being criticized by everyone who demanded her immediate departure until Nephilia finally spoke up and told them that she hadn't done anything to her, which made Chestil yell at them to tell them that she gets worried when she sees a sad girl and that she came to check up on her. Manuela ordered some food for Nephilia, but Nephilia refused to accept it because she had no money, so she told her not to worry and to eat as much as she wanted. Then she turned to Chestil and told her that she would pay for her food herself, which made her feel angry for treating her so harshly for no reason. When Nephilia started eating the food, she remembered that yesterday she was making the same for Zagan and started shedding tears and couldn't stop herself this time, and after Manuela contained her, she told them what happened between them yesterday. Chestil thought that maybe he was using her for something, while Manuela wondered if anything strange had happened before Zagan kicked her out. She remembered when he told her that he had become a demon lord. When she asked what a demon lord was, Manuela told her that they were the world's elite magicians and that this town was under the rule of a magician named Marcusius, and things were stable until he died, and a series of horrible things started happening around the neighborhood, like the kidnapping of girls. Chestil remembered when Cloudwell told her that Zagan was responsible for the kidnappings, and Nephilia realized that the townspeople had negative impressions of the church. Chestil told her that the demon lords were the source of evil that the knights were sworn to eliminate at all costs, and then began to explain the church's strategy for dealing with demon lords, especially new ones. Nephilia realized that Zagan was about to get into a conflict with the church, so he preferred to keep her away from him so she wouldn't get into trouble. When Chestil asked her, she thought that someone like Zagan was responsible for kidnapping the girls to use them for magic. She said that he didn't care about the weak, even if he had to save some of them. Chestil felt that she was right when she remembered that he had gone easy on her in their fight because she was a woman, and she remembered when she first met him and he seemed like someone who needed help and kindness despite his pretense to the contrary. Nephilia was surprised that someone else noticed it, which made her feel jealous and happy at the same time. Then she remembered when they watched the moon together on her first night in the castle and wondered if he still needed help. Then she got some confidence and decided to go back to him again and told him that Zagan is strong and no one can defeat him, but that doesn't mean he can't be harmed. Chestil decides to do her duty as a knight and find the sorcerer who impersonated him in order to do evil things to exonerate Zagan in front of the church. Manuela leaves them after feeling better and tells Nephilia to come see her if she has any more trouble. When Nephilia asked why she was being so nice to her, she was surprised when she replied that they were friends and thought that no one had ever said that to her, which made Manuela feel happy that she was the first friend that Nephilia had ever had. Chestil hesitated before asking if she could be their friend, but Manuela hugged her and told her that she already considered her a friend. Then they were interrupted by the knights entering the tavern and were surprised to see Nephilia and thought she would attack them before they realized it, but the surprise was that they were all targeted by the new demon Lord Zagan, so Manuela had no choice but to run away while Nephilia and Chestil ended up as his hostages, and he told the rest to come to his castle if they wanted to get them back. After that, the knights ended up defeated by him after they fell into one of his traps that he had set earlier with Nephilia, and when he remembered that, he thought it was better to keep her away from him so that she would not be in danger and she would be fine on her own as she was loved by the people in the city. As he was about to leave, he found one of the knights begging him to release Chestil, as she was the only one who believed he had nothing to do with the kidnappings and was willing to go against the church to prove his innocence. Zagan had no idea what the knight was talking about until they were interrupted by the appearance of Manuela, who believed he had not kidnapped the girls. When she told him what had happened, he was shocked and wondered if it was too late to keep Nephilia away from him. Manuela begged him to save them before it was too late. He thought that if he saved Nephilia publicly, everyone would know about their relationship and the church wouldn't leave her alone. His thoughts were interrupted by Manuela's voice telling him that she had intended to come back to him because she wanted to be with him and support him. Zagan felt a painful sting in his heart that hurt more than the strongest attack he had ever experienced in his life because of her desire to return despite his cruel treatment of her last time. And when he realized that she cared about something as evil as he did, he told Manuela that he knew what he had to do and vowed to turn anyone who dared to touch Nephilia into ashes because she belonged to him. He then asked Manuela if she would accompany him to Nephilia's rescue, and she didn't hesitate to agree to go with him for her friend. He ended up surrounded by the knights who begged for Chastil. In the meantime, Nephilia regained consciousness, not knowing exactly where she was, and found Chastil tied up next to her. She felt that the collar and handcuffs were limiting her magical power and thought of a way to free herself, but her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of approaching footsteps. It turns out that Zagan's only friend Barbatos was responsible for their kidnapping. When she expressed her displeasure at his behavior and said that she thought they were friends, Barbatos met her words with sarcasm because he didn't expect to hear anyone use the term friendship to describe magicians. He then asked her if she had ever heard of a man named Andrus the Damned, the man that Zagan had killed in the past, and told her that he had unfortunately been a student of the wizard, and although he had not done so to avenge his master, he wanted his money and knowledge because he thought that everything he owned was supposed to be his own. Then he added that he was the one who turned the church against him and claimed that he was responsible for the kidnapping of the girls. When that didn't work, he tried to overthrow him using his followers, but they ended up defeated by him, and Chastil realized that he was really responsible for the kidnappings. He told her that the face stealer had come up with the idea for the sacrifices. He just needed the means to perform a ritual that would prove to the 12 rulers that he was worthy of joining them and that he intended to use them for the same purpose. Nephilia told him that his plan wouldn't work now. He thought she hoped her master would come to her rescue, but was shocked when she told him that Zagan had become the new demon lord, and that's why he had relieved her of her service. He felt angry that he had gotten everything in the end. He dragged Nephilia to a dark place and decided to take his position by force. It turned out that he had created a giant magic circle to use them as sacrifices. When Chastil begged him to take her instead, he told her that her turn would come soon, as this ritual required high-quality tools. Nephilia remembered that she had lived a long time of her life hearing people call her that word while Zagan never called her that once, and then she felt that she did not want to die and wanted to return to her master and hide inside the castle and continue doing what she used to do for him, but she could not evade Barbatos and screamed at him that she belonged only to her master. Barbatos tells her that she is just a slave, and just as he is about to use his power on her, a large part of the place is destroyed and Zagan appears in front of him after his magic is broken, and he admires what Nephilia has just said. Barbatos is shocked by Zagan's discovery, and when he asks him how he knew it was him, he tells him that he had suspicions ever since the face stealer appeared and begged for his life when he had him in his grasp, even though he had somehow managed to break through his barrier, and that's when he realized it was him. Then he realized that he had helped him get past his protective barriers because he used to visit him in the castle from time to time. Then he remembered that he had come to visit him after he was attacked by the knights, and seemed to be checking up on the situation. Barbatos laughed at the idea that he had acted foolishly and served him tea even though he knew he was a traitor, while Zagan told him that he was just curious about what he was planning, then expressed his anger at his kidnapping of Nephilia and attacked him. Barbatos ended up helpless in front of him after Zagan targeted his limbs, then turned to Nephilia and freed her. She rushed towards him and told him that he looked more hurt than her when he kicked her out. Then she started crying and begged him not to be alone, so he hugged her, feeling guilty that he was the one who decided to leave her alone in order to protect her. On the other hand, Barbatos wanted to surprise him with one of his spells, but he was shocked to see all the spells fade away without Zagan touching them, so he told him that he uses the same spell in reverse on his magic circles, canceling them out before they reach him. When Barbatos said that this power was the legacy of his former teacher, Zagan told him that he would not have died if he had been able to use it, and told him that he was 8 years old when Andrus kidnapped him, and when he used a magic circle in front of him, he memorized its shape and drew it without realizing it on his palm by cutting himself, and when the right moment came, he used the spell on him and caused his death before he was killed. Zagan considered it a mere coincidence that an amateur could imitate a magic spell by memorizing its shape and could activate it in a split second. Barbatos was furious and continued to attack him with many magic circles, but his attack ended in failure after he neutralized them. Zagan then told him that he still had a chance to improve if he wanted to call himself a magician, and remembered that his first research project was to improve magic spells that harmonized with him instead of interacting with him. Although he deliberately isolated himself from everyone and immersed himself in his books and research, Barbatos would always appear and accompany him whenever and wherever he wanted. So Barbatos told him that he could get rid of him whenever he wanted, but his curiosity to know what he was doing inside the castle prevented him from doing so. Then Zagan decided to show him the results of his research and studies over the years, and Barbatos was shocked to learn that he had devoured his magic and turned his spells into magic that enhances Zagan's body for the time being. Then Zagan told him the name he received after becoming the ruler of the 13 demons, which is the conqueror of witches. Barbatos ended up falling to the ground, bleeding from the intensity of the attack he received from Zagan, and he realized then how powerful he was, and that he would not be able to stop him even if he became the Demon Lord. And when he found him approaching him, he admitted defeat and asked him to forgive him in exchange for not letting him see his face again. Zagan then looked directly at him before delivering one last thunderous blow. Then it turned out that he deliberately missed him after deciding to leave him alive, which made Barbatos angry at his show of mercy and vowed that he would try to get rid of him if he let him live. So Zagan jokingly told him that he wouldn't mind if he drank drinks on his account every time he defeated him. He wondered what he would gain by letting him live, and Zagan replied that he intended to do whatever he wanted and not be bound by anything. He also wanted Nephilia to live freely in this world, so he would give him the freedom to grow strong and come to confront him whenever he wanted. Suddenly, they felt a violent vibration from Barbatos' magic circle, and when Zagan realized that this was not his doing, he found that he had involuntarily interacted with the circle when he punched the ground and ordered the girls to run away quickly, but the circle emitted a strange force of magical energy. When he asked Barbatos what he was trying to do before he came, he told him that he was planning to summon a real demon, and they all ended up trapped by a huge dark creature that they would have to face to get out alive. Zagan thought that the random activation and the lack of a sacrificial offering led to an incomplete summoning of the demon, causing it to appear as a shadow. Then he began to feel the pressure of his aura pressing down on him and realized that they didn't stand a chance, as he hadn't felt this much pressure when he met the 12 judges. When the demon began to approach him, he felt that he would die here, but he was surprised to see him bow before him and call him king amidst the amazement of the rest. Then he looked at his hand and found the emblem he had inherited from the previous ruler glowing. Then he thought about ordering him to leave and told him that this place is not suitable for him, so the demon returned inside the magic circle in silence, and when it faded, Zagan felt relieved, but soon found that the cave would collapse, so he carried the 3 girls and made Barbatos cling to his cloak, and when he approached the exit, he found the knights waiting for them. After helping Zagan and the others out of the cave, they took Chestil and told Zagan before they left that they had no intention of colluding with such an evil sorcerer, and that their top priority was the safety of the leader. Manuela expressed her gratitude to him for saving them and whispered that he and Nephilia should work things out together before she left. Zagan wanted to see if Barbatos still wanted to fight, but he was feeling desperate and decided to go get him some nice drinks in exchange for leaving him alone. After he left, there was silence between him and Nephilia, and he thought about what he should say to her. Then he found her telling him that she wanted to stay by his side no matter what, and she was surprised when he knelt in front of her and asked her to call him by his name instead of my master, and that he would no longer treat her as a slave, servant, or pupil. Then he blushed when he wanted to express his feelings to her and say that he loves her, but he couldn't say it, so he approached her and told her that she belongs to him and will be forever until one of them dies, and when he realized himself, he moved away from her, feeling frustrated that he couldn't say a simple word like, I love you. When he turned to her, she smiled at him and pulled out her old collar and asked him to put it back on her since it was the reason they met, so he put it around her neck and accepted the idea of keeping the collar for her. Nephilia wondered about the nature of their relationship if he did not want her as a slave or disciple, which made him feel confused and wondered what he should say in such circumstances. The next day, news began to spread among the public about the new demon lord living in the Lost Forest, and Chimeris and Gremory eavesdropped on their conversations. Chimeris was surprised to find Gremory indifferent after being among the candidates for the position. She told him that many things would change in the city and they would just have to watch. Chestil, on the other hand, refused to take down Zagan, telling Cloutwell that he had saved her life twice, which she considered a betrayal, and that he had been cleared of kidnapping charges. He was surprised that she dared to defend a sorcerer in front of him and decided to strip her of her position as a holy knight indefinitely. The knights try to defend her and convince him to consider a less severe punishment, but she orders them to remain silent and decides to do what she believes in no matter the consequences, as Zadan used to do for what he believes in. Chestil returns the holy sword to the church and remembers how proud she was when she got it and that she was going to use it to protect people until she ended up following the church's orders and unable to swing it on her own, which makes her happy that she is now free. Then she found Cloutwell expressing his displeasure at having passed such a judgment on her and told her that her punishment would eventually be cancelled after some time because she was one of those chosen to carry the holy sword. He then approached her and told her to be patient until he found a way to resolve the matter, and she felt ashamed that someone still considered her valuable within the church. Then he told her that political protection was all he could offer her. She was shocked to learn that one of the most feared holy knights, Raphael, was on his way to the city, and her first thought was that he was coming to eliminate her as a rebel against the church. 2 weeks later, Zagan was searching his library for information about the emblem he had inherited from the former demon lord, and he wanted to know where the demons were in this world, but he couldn't find any clues in the items he had gotten from the former lord's castle. Then he sensed Nephilia sneaking in and realized that she was trying to surprise him and decided to go along with her to see what she would do. Nephilia wanted to put her hand over his eyes, but she didn't realize the height difference between them, which made her plan to sneak and fail. She felt embarrassed and sat there thinking about what to do. She then told him that she wanted to surprise him after noticing that he was exhausted from his recent research, and Zagan realized how cute she was and that she was trying to cheer him up. She then told him that she had just finished making lunch, and they went out to eat at the table together. He was surprised that she had prepared many different dishes for him, and when he realized that she had mastered new recipes, she told him that Manuela had helped her learn more about food. When he ate the pudding she made for him after lunch, he was surprised at how well she was able to prepare different types of food at the same time, and suddenly he sensed someone breaking through his protective barrier and bypassing all his traps. Before he started to leave, he found the intruder standing in front of him and asked him if he was the 13th Demon Lord. He asked him to tell him his name first as per the etiquette of the visit, and he told him that he was Valefor, one of the candidates for the position of Demon Lord, and wanted to get rid of him and take away his power. Zagan told him that he should wait until he finished his meal. Valefor was furious and attacked him, but he was able to stop him before his arm reached him and found that this arm was not made by magic. And when Valefor continued to try to harm him, he gave him a painful blow and pushed him away before he could stain his food. The mask that Valefor was wearing fell off after he lost consciousness, and they realized it was a little girl. Zagan was so confused that he ended up carrying her on his back to the guest room and waited for her to regain consciousness. When Valefor regained consciousness and found him next to her, she attacked him again, but he grabbed her fist and told her that she owed Nephilia thanks for almost dying if she hadn't realized she was just a child. When she asked him why he left her alive, he told her that Nephilia was the one who saved her. He then asked her why she attacked him, and she replied that she wanted to get power, so he asked her why she was targeting him of all people. She told him that he was a new demon lord, and she thought she could defeat him without using magic after he got the title of Conqueror of Mages, and then he realized that she was a dragon after remembering her appearance and her non-magical abilities. He looked at her in anger and helplessness, and found that she seemed to have no desire to avenge him. He was soon surprised to find that she resembled him as a child when he was caught stealing food. He decided to punish her in an age-appropriate manner, and assigned her to help Nephilia with the daily chores in the castle for a week for daring to defy the demon lord. He thought about teaching her some things during her time in the castle so she wouldn't make the same mistake again. When Nephilia asks him if he doesn't intend to eat her, he replies that there are many legends about the power that can be obtained through the body of a dragon, and he realizes that this is the reason why she hides her identity. Then he remembered when he was young and two children came up to him and offered him some food and decided to do the same with Valefor, but she couldn't trust him that easily, so he told her that he didn't intend to hurt her and that he hated people who wasted food. She had to eat it to avoid injuring him, and she was surprised that it tasted delicious. He told her that it was made by Nephilia, and when he was sure that everything was fine, he decided to return to the library and let her help Nephilia. When she asked him if he did not think that she might attack her and try to escape, he told her that he trusted her to know the consequences of trying to escape after he revealed her secret, and that she had no chance against Nephilia. Zagan continued to watch them closely in case Valefor wanted to do anything rash. Nephilia, meanwhile, was teaching her all about housework, and Valefor quickly warmed up to her because of her gentle manner. Zagan overheard their conversation, and when Nephilia asked if Valefor was afraid of him, Valefor told her that she wasn't afraid of his looks, but of his power because she couldn't do anything in front of him. Nephilia told her that he didn't use his power without reason. Then she asked her what she intends to do after her sentence is over, and Valefor felt frustrated that she is weak and cannot target one of the other demon lords, and then Zagan realized that she is the opposite of what he expected about dragons and wondered why she is in a human settlement. Valefor, on the other hand, was curious to ask Nephilia why she was submitting to him, and she replied that she had settled in the castle after he had bought her and felt happy that he treated her as a person and not a slave, which made her feel a sense of belonging to the place. As the days passed, Valefor began to feel safe in the castle and did household chores without complaint. Zagan continued to watch her from time to time and look for clues about the demons until he decided to return to the former ruler's castle and look again for more clues. Then Valefor came in to tell him that dinner was ready. As he started to leave, she asked him if he didn't think she would attack him from behind while his back was turned. He remembered what Barbados had told him after their last battle and told her to try to do that whenever she wanted, but she would end up working inside the castle longer if she lost. Valefor apologized for interrupting his meal when she came to get rid of him after realizing how good Nephilia's food was and that it was only natural for him to be angry with her for that reason. Zagan thought about taking her with him to investigate the former demon lord's castle, and she was infuriated by his indifference that she could steal his knowledge at any time. He told her that he believed that technology and knowledge could be taken away, as he had done the same with the previous owner of the castle. He thought in his head that it would upset Nephilia, but he told her that she was just a child here, regardless of her being a dragon or her skills, and that children should behave like children, including expressing their desires. Valefor started crying, which confused Zagan, who hesitated for a moment before patting her head and telling her to stop crying. He then told her that she would be safe here as no one would dare to target her while she was under his protection, so she decided to trust him. In the evening, Valefor fell asleep while Zagan and Nephilia sat watching her, and Nephilia remembered that the same thing happened to her when she came to the castle, where she fell into a deep sleep as soon as she felt safe inside, which is the same thing that Valefor feels now. Zagan noticed that she was holding a spoon in her sleep, and when he tried to take it away, he found her holding his finger and calling for her father. He realized that she might be dreaming about her parents, but his face almost exploded in embarrassment when Nephilia told him that it looked like they had a child of their own. When she realized what she had said, she blushed and looked away, while Zagan sat sat and wondered if a demon ruler like him was allowed to think about natural happiness, then held Nephilia's hand and wished he could start a family with her. A week later, Valifor sat down to write down what was happening around her in the castle in her diary to observe Zagan. The only thing that puzzled her was the nature of the relationship between him and Nephilia because of their suspicious behavior towards each other. However, she feels warm living with them inside the castle and is eager to carry out tomorrow's mission to investigate the former ruler's castle. The next day, Zagan takes her to Manuela's shop to buy her some new clothes. She admires how cute Valifor is. After they finish shopping, Zagan and Nephilia notice that she likes her new outfits. Zavian was amazed at how strangely warm he felt and then realized it was a protective instinct. He couldn't believe someone like him could feel that way. Meanwhile, Chastil was wandering around, thinking how foolish she was to realize that by giving up her position as a holy knight, she had only delayed Zayden's elimination for a little while, and wondered if she felt compelled to do so. As she thought about it, she realized that she wanted to live a happy life with Nephilia and raise a family together in peace. She came across Zagan and Nephilia on her way and was shocked to see Valifor with them, thinking she was their daughter. When Valifor asked Valifor about her, he found himself unable to recognize her. Nephilia told him that she was Chastil. He was surprised that she was dressed differently than usual and told Valifor that she was Nephilia's friend. The three knights who had been secretly following Chastil to protect her joined them and were surprised to see Zagan. While they thought he was harassing Chastil, he felt the force next to him and realized that Valifor was about to attack the knights, so he ordered her to back off from what she was about to do. When she asked why, he told her that fighting here would cause many casualties, most of whom would be Nephilia's friends, so she was forced to remain silent while the three knights escorted Chastil and told her that Cloutwell had ordered her summoned. After their departure, Zagan wondered why Valifor wanted to attack them. She replied that the wizard didn't need a reason to hold a grudge against the knights of the church, so he continued on his way, hoping not to get into any more trouble with Chastil and her allies. Valifor was astonished to see how large the underground castle of the former ruler was, then smelled a familiar odor, rushed to the gate, and told Zagan that there was a possibility that some dragons were living here. As they entered the castle, Zagan sensed Nephilia's nervousness and held her hand to reassure her until they noticed a chimera that was supposed to guard the castle, but it stopped working right after the death of the previous ruler, as it was made by magic. Valifor found a magic circle with dragon drawings on it. Zagan praised her by patting her on the head and then asked her if she knew what it was for, and she guessed that it might help open one of the secret doors. He asked her to try to open it, and while she was doing so, he noticed that something was wrong with Nephilia. He soon realized that she wanted him to pat her on the head as he had done with Valifor, and he realized that she was jealous since she hadn't acted like that when they were alone. The three of them continued to explore the castle together until they found a secret library. Zagan felt that he had found his calling and told the girls that their goal was to collect any books that contained information about demons or the symbols of demon lords. When they started searching, Valifor asked Zagan if he had the ability to read other people's thoughts, since he could tell what Nephilia wanted before she told him, and he said he could read her hints to him, which made her jealous. Then he told her that she would be able to know what others wanted if she lived as long as he did. She wondered if she could stay with him all her life. When he told her that he wouldn't stop her if she tried to leave, she clung to him and decided to stay with him. Then she noticed a book with a distinctive cover, and when Zagan took it to check it out, he found the emblem of the former demon lord engraved on one of the swords and realized that he could learn more about the emblems of the demon lords if he learned more about the holy swords. On the other side, Chastil went with the three musketeers to meet Raphael and was surprised when he got straight to the point and asked her how many sorcerers she had eliminated. She felt that he would gladly cut off her head after knowing what she had done and decided that she was ready to die. She replied that it was not a number worth bragging about in her opinion, which made him surprised that she dared to speak to him in such a tone, and her followers began to warn her that they were unsure of their ability to protect her and that she should be careful in talking to the knight's master. When Raphael decides to take her life, the three knights stand in front of him and tell her to flee before Cloudwell interrupts and stops him from harming her. He turns to him and asks him about the sacred sword he took from her. When Cloudwell asks why he is asking about the sword, he tells him that he is thinking of finishing off Chastil and using her sword after her death. Cloudwell was furious as Chastil approached him and told him that they wouldn't be much different from thugs if they decided to use their swords according to their whims. Raphael didn't hesitate to pull his sword out of its sheath to point it at her and warn Cloudwell that one of his subjects was about to die unarmed, and Cloudwell had no choice but to return it. She suspected that Raphael had done this deliberately to get her sword back for some reason. When she returned home, she was surprised to find an envelope on her desk containing a letter. In the evening, Zagan went to the tavern with Barbados and was surprised that he knew about Valifor. He told him that there were rumors going around that he had kidnapped a girl. As Zagan was about to leave in anger, he told him that he wanted to have a fancy drink with him. Zagan tells him that she's actually a girl he knows well. He guesses it might be Gremory, but quickly dismisses the idea because she hates men. Then he remembers that Valifor attacked his house a few days ago. Realizing that Barbados doesn't know who she is and still thinks she's just an armored man, he decides to keep her identity a secret and tells him that the armored man survived after he got lucky. Barbados remembers the rumors that he's a dragon and thinks it would be a waste for Zayden to give up something like that would help him make powerful magic catalyst from his corpse. When he repeated his question about the girl, Zagan told him it was just a girl he had adopted, which made Barbados burst out laughing, thinking he was joking. While Zagan felt he was hopeless, then Barbados remembered something important and told him that the church had summoned Raphael, known as the Witch Hunter, as he had caused the death of 499 witches and chose him to be number 500. Zagan marveled at the idea that one person could kill so many wizards, even with a holy sword, and was quickly shocked when Barbados told him about the rumor that he had eaten a dragon before and remembered what Valifor had told him about humans believing that eating dragon meat would make them stronger. He then expressed his surprise that Barbados was telling him so much news and told him that he was trying to make up for the day they fought and thought that getting close to him would be better for him than trying to get rid of him. But Zagan refused to believe him and asked him what he was really after. Barbados told him that he wanted him to let him explore the former ruler's castle, but Zagan refused, knowing that he would deliberately hide a lot of things he didn't want to see, and suggested that he give him some magic tomes instead. While they were talking, Raphael entered the tavern, and when Zagan saw him through the glass of his glass, he asked Barbados about the description of the knight who ate the dragon, and when he told him the same description, he said that he saw someone similar to him. So Barbados thought he was talking about a past event and told him that he would attack him as soon as he saw him, and as soon as he finished his sentence, he was shocked to see Raphael standing behind him and preparing to tear Zagan's body with his sword. Everyone is horrified at the sight of Raphael, and Barbados prepares to face him, while Zagan sits quietly sipping his drink. When Barbados starts to use his powers, Zagan neutralizes them and tells him that Raphael doesn't seem to have come to fight. Raphael realizes that the new demon lord is a different person than the others, and when he sits down to talk to him, Zagan is confused because he has nothing to say to him, while Barbados is trying to help the waitress regain consciousness. When he asked Raphael why he had come, Raphael told him that he had heard about his encounter with one of his fellow knights, so he came to take a look at him and was surprised that he was famous as a witch hunter, and yet he was sitting in front of two of them quietly. Raphael tells him that all he's doing is putting out embers that could turn into flames, and Zagan wonders if the rumors Barbados told him about him are true, since he doesn't look like someone who caused the death of 499 wizards. Raphael asks him if Chastel was strong enough to pose a threat to him when he encountered her, and he says that she was stronger than anyone he had ever fought before, at the very least. Raphael then says that at this rate, she is a threat to the church as well after she intercepted a mission to eliminate him, and the church would be forced to get rid of her. Zagan is surprised to hear that they intend to eliminate her, while Raphael tells him that she put herself in a difficult situation when she could have pretended to be on their side. Raphael then decides to leave, and Zagan realizes that he only came to confirm the connection between him and Chastel to find an excuse to get rid of her. Zagan sat there thinking that a lot of people would mourn her death and told him before he left that he would crush him if he crossed his boundaries within his own territory, which was the entire city. Raphael laughed and realized that he was the kind of villain that the church devotes its resources to eradicating. After his departure, Barbados wondered if he thought he'd get along with a holy knight like him and should have hunted him down and eliminated him, but he was shocked to find Zagan suggesting he do it for him and asked him if he wanted him to die that badly. Barbados wanted to check on Chastel and asked him to use teleportation to check on her. Barbados wanted to make sure he was ready to help her even though she was a holy knight, so Zagan told him that he would give him magic tomes from his library for the task. Barbados had to use his mobility ability, while Zagan returned home and was surprised to see Nephilia still awake and waiting for him, then found Valifor asleep on her leg and told him that she was the one who insisted on waiting for his return until she fell asleep and that she had worked very hard today. Zagan realized that Valifor had told her that she wanted to be with him for 1,000 years. Zagan felt that Valifor's presence in her life was precious because she would be able to share her long life as a dragon with him, and that's why she wanted to avenge her parents' death. Zagan decides that he must get rid of Raphael before he encounters her to ensure her safety. Then he finds Nephilia telling him that she wishes she could stay with him all that time too, so he tells her that she will always be with them, and when he looks closely at her eyes, he notices that she has long eyelashes and feels that he has never seen her so close before. Just as he was about to kiss her, they were interrupted by Barbados appearing out of nowhere to give him some bad news. Zagan gave him an angry look and kicked him out of the castle before ripping his body to shreds, but he was surprised to see him holding Chastel in his arms and telling them that she had been poisoned somehow. He asked Nephilia to heal her with healing spells. As she headed towards them, Valifor woke up and saw what was happening in front of her and quickly became angry when she noticed the holy sword in Chastel's possession. She rushes towards them to attack her, but Zagan stops her and tells her that she is his guest. When he asks her if she hates the knights so much, she tells him that she chose to become a witch specifically to avenge them. Zagan tells her that Chastel is not the one who killed her parents, and if she gets rid of her, the real perpetrator won't care and will only make more enemies who will become obstacles to her revenge. Valifor was outraged and asked him what he knew about revenge. Zagan approached her and told her that revenge was to make her enemies suffer endlessly by dragging him into the depths of despair and terror and making him beg for death before she got rid of him. She asked him if he had ever taken revenge on someone in the past, and he remembered Andros the Cursed, the first sorcerer who caused his death, and told her that he failed to take revenge on him after he died in a few seconds, and it didn't make him feel any better, which is why why he decided to teach her the perfect way to take revenge, especially since he has many tools of torture inside the castle. After a while, Chastel regained consciousness and was surprised to see Zagan sitting next to her bed. He told her that she owed thanks to Nephilia who treated her, and when he told her that she had suffered an assassination attempt, she remembered the letter she found on the desk when she returned home and told him that she had been invited by an unknown person. She then went to meet this mysterious person in secret, who told her that there was a splinter group of the church that favored harmony and coexistence between them and witches, and that they believed the church existed to fight witchcraft, not to eradicate witches. She added that this person did not even show her his face, yet she felt she already knew him. When he offered her to join them for protection, she wondered if he was related to Cardinal Clawell. Then the mysterious person decided to give her a name to call him to prove he was trustworthy, and asked her to call him Oropus, and then he left quietly. Chastel wandered around, wondering if she should believe what Oropus had told her. She thought she should at least get protection while Raphael was in town. When she got home, she sat down to drink some tea, and that's when she passed out after being poisoned. She told Zagan that Raphael was the most likely suspect, but he dismissed the idea as a bloody man who would resort to violence rather than indirect methods, and allowed her to stay in his castle until she recovered as Nephilia's friend. Before he left the room, she clung to him and asked him to stay with her a little longer. He replied that she should ask Nephilia, but she was asleep now, which made him change the position of the chair and sit down to continue reading his book, while Chastel thought about what she wanted when she asked him, then decided to become part of the happiness that Zagan and Nephilia are seeking and not ruin their lives together. The next day, Chastel was shocked to find that she ended up as a servant in the castle with Nephilia and Valifor. As she grabbed the broom, she remembered that she had only carried a sword all her life, and Zagan told her that he hadn't mentioned that she could stay in the castle for free. When she noticed Valifor's presence, she tried to woo her but was met with a harsh response before she stormed off. Chastel asked why she was being treated like this, and he told her about her parents' death at the hands of a holy sword wielder. Zagan told her that all she had to do was avoid Valifor and assured her that she wouldn't do anything foolish, but over the course of the day, Valifor caused 3 different accidents for Chastel while she was working, the last of which was putting a frog in her face. Zagan realized that she was trying to tease Chastel without using her powers, and that this was her way of expressing her opinion of Chastel as a child. Chastel felt he was being too lenient and ended up getting 2 frogs in the face by Valifor again, and Zagan realized that she was useless outside of combat. 10 days later, Valifor sat down to write in her diary and expressed her disgust at the idea of a holy knight living in the Demon Lord's castle. As the days went by, she continued to harass Chastel in every way but force after realizing that she was just a pathetic girl. Then she found Zagan entering her room to talk to her for a while. Meanwhile, Chastel was relaxing in the hot bath with Nephilia and found her apologizing for Valifor's childish behavior and telling her that she was sure they would become friends over time. Chastel thought the bathroom was big enough for her and Zagan, so Nephilia told her that he had cleaned it so they could use it together. Chastel thought she meant that she and Zagan were showering together and started asking her questions, blushing while Nephilia answered spontaneously, until Chastel realized that she meant that she was showering with Valifor. On the other hand, Valifor thought that Zagan had come to scold her for her behavior, while Zagan told her that she was allowed to do whatever she wanted, except for trying to get rid of her or playing pranks during meals or food in general. She was surprised to find him asking her if she wanted to continue living here to see how she felt. He told her that she could answer after she had something to do, that she was free to make her own decision, and that he and Nephilia would always be waiting for her. Valifor remembers the day her parents died at the hands of a knight and can't contain her anger. After Zagan leaves, she sneaks into Chastel's room and almost kills her, but she ends up taking care of her while feeling angry that Chastel didn't use her sword despite her constant harassment. The next day, Zagan is surprised when Nephilia rushes into his room to tell him that Valifor is gone. Valifor felt that she would forget her revenge if she stayed with Zagan and Nephilia forever, and although she loved living with them inside the castle, her desire to avenge her parents was greater, so she decided to leave and finished writing her diary on her last night and expressed her gratitude towards Zagan's offer to become his daughter, and then flew away. Afterward, Valifor went to the castle of the former demon lord, hoping to find enough strength to get rid of the holy sword wielder, but before she entered, she felt like a traitor for sneaking into the castle and taking things without his knowledge. Then she was surprised to hear a voice speaking to her from behind, and when she turned around, she realized that it was Raphael and realized that he was following her without her realizing it, and when she saw his holy sword, she discovered that he was the one who got rid of her parents and remembered seeing him devouring her father's body after his death. She did not hesitate to use her strength to initiate an attack on him, but she was shocked to see him waiting for her approach with his sword and intending to finish her off, and she realized that she would not have a chance in front of a holy knight without a plan in advance. Before the sword reached her neck, Zagan appeared out of nowhere and saved her just in time by blocking his blow. She wondered why he saved her even though she was a traitor, so he patted her on the head and told her that he understood how she felt, and she started crying and rushed to him to apologize. Zagan then communicated with Nephilia through Barbato's teleportation circle and told her that everything was fine. He then addressed Raphael and told him that he had already warned him about what would happen when he crossed his boundaries, while Raphael laughed at the idea of a villain like him defending someone else. else. When Zagan told him that she was his daughter, he saw that as reason enough to take the life of both of them and began to attack them with all his might, causing damage to Zayden's magic circle. He told him that he had already defeated a demon lord with his sword and burned all his magic with his cleansing fire. Barbatos sensed that Raphael was taking their confrontation very seriously, and when Valifor wondered if Zagan was deliberately provoking him to get serious, he told her that he had already mentioned that he would teach her how to get revenge. He then rushed towards Raphael to attack him and was shocked to find that his spell was not cancelled after touching his sword. Zagan told him that his spell, which he learned from the former ruler, draws the magical energy around it to keep it alive. He then struck him with the spell, forcing him to retreat. He became furious and rushed towards him again to try to harm him. When Zagan managed to cancel the cleansing fire of his sword, he found that his spell had disappeared and realized that it only lasted for 3 strikes. When Raphael wanted to take the opportunity to attack him after the disappearance of the spell, Zagan hit him with another spell that made him hit the gate, and he thought that Raphael would not be able to get up after that, but he was surprised to find him appearing from the rubble, holding his sword. Chastil, on the other hand, decided to follow Zagan to support him in the fight, thinking that Valifor's departure was because of her, but hesitating at the thought that she would be fighting alongside wizards and that it might cause the church to become even more angry with her. She found Nephilia looking at her and told her that she invite her situation, but was surprised that she felt the same way because she could join Zagan and fight alongside him even if he didn't need her. She suggested that she join them, but Chastil refused because he told her to wait for them to come back here. Then she hugged Chastil and thought maybe it was her duty to stay in the castle to welcome Zagan back. Chastil expressed her desire to help him even though they were enemies, and she felt confused about what to do, wondering why she was holding the sword if she didn't want to point it at Zagan. Nephilia told her that she knew what to do and remembered when they had first talked, and she told her that she felt Zagan was lonely and that she was jealous because she thought she was the only one who could understand how Zagan felt without him saying it, but at the same time she was happy that there were people who could understand him. Chastil felt grateful to her for trying to console her and wondered why she had gone to the trouble. Nephilia told her that they were friends, and that's when she had the confidence to go after Zagan and support him. On the other side, Raphael uses his power to heal himself, while Zagan, realizing that the rumors about dragon flesh having special powers mean he won't die easily, tells Valifor to think of a suitable punishment for him. When Raphael asked if he was so hated, she told him that he had caused the death of her proud father, also known as Europas, and everyone was surprised that her father was the legendary dragon that had lived for thousands of years. Then she remembered that Europas was a wise dragon and used his powers to help people, and one day he was visited by a group of knights and went somewhere with them and did not return home since then, and after a week she went to look for him until she found him dead in the desert, and Raphael devoured him without mercy. Then she accused the holy knights of betrayal and became envious of them, while Raphael decided not to let her out alive after he learned that she was Europa's daughter and started to attack her, but Zagan blocked him with a thunderous blow. Valifor decided to use her strength to knock him down, but Chastil rushed towards him and blocked him with her sword, which made Valifor feel angry for helping her despite bullying her all the time. After Chastil managed to harm Raphael and force him to submit before them, Zagan began to question him and asked him what he was after by following them, and told him that he would not get rid of him as long as he did not care about death, as he noticed that his desire to shed blood disappeared as soon as he heard the name Europas. Chastil was shocked when she connected the dots and realized that he was the mysterious person who met her and told her to call him by that name. While they were questioning him, they were surprised by the appearance of a mysterious object from inside the castle with a strong aura. Zagan felt it looked like a demon based on its high-pressure aura, and then realized that it was sucking magical energy from its surroundings to power itself, and at this rate, it was going to drain them personally. Then Valifor told him that this was the guardian of the demon lord's castle that they found when they explored the castle. He realized that he might have been awakened by the wave of 2 holy swords colliding with each other and tried to use his heritage as a ruler to make him go away and turn back, but his power had no effect on him. When he attacked, he targeted Valifor, and Raphael rushed towards her to defend her with everything he had and ended up on the verge of death after taking so much damage, while Zagan turned towards the demon and launched a fierce attack against it to finish it off and managed to knock it down with a single blow. When Valifor asked him why he protected her, he told her that he did his duty, and as he tried to get up, he felt as if he saw Europa's face in her eyes, while Zagan realized that he was trying to atone for his mistake and asked him to tell them everything. Raphael denies that he caused the death of Europa's, as Valifor accuses him of, telling her that it's impossible for a legendary dragon to fall at the hands of someone with such little strength, and when she accuses him of tricking him somehow, he asks her if her father is the kind of person who can be brought down by a human betrayal. Then he began to tell her his side of the story, that he had gone to ask Europas for help to vanquish a demon of some kind mentioned in the legends, and that this demon was the cause of the destruction of Europas and most of his knights that day after he appeared with a group of his ancestors all at once. Then he added that this type of demon is likely to reappear in the near future. Zagan realized what kind of demon he was talking about and told them that he met one of them by chance one day and became convinced that they exist somewhere in this world, so he started searching the ancient texts to find a way to face them. Valifor is shocked by the fact that her father fought a demon and lost to it. Raphael tells her her that he didn't lose. He chose to beat it with his life, so she should feel proud instead of hateful that her father sacrificed his life to defend her and the world. Then he added that he wouldn't mind dying so that she could feel this pride for her father, and told her that demons are the source of evil in this world, and if they come back again, humanity will have no chance to survive, which is why Oropus asked him to continue living at all costs, and he had to drink his own blood to become stronger and survive. Then he told them that he felt his duty was coming to an end after he succeeded in founding the Reconciliation Society to end the conflict between witches and the church in order to survive the demons. Barbados refused to believe him at first because of his bad reputation among witches after he took the lives of nearly 500 people. He told him that he was right and that he didn't really deserve to carry the banner of reconciliation, so he had Chastel in mind to take this responsibility for him. While they were talking, they found that the demon was still alive, so Zagan went towards it and decided to break the magic inside it. Raphael tells him that it's not just a monster, it's a combination of a monster and something else, making it a demonic chimera. He remembers that it's the same demon that he and Oropus encountered and thinks that the former ruler took his body and turned it into a chimera. Zagan thought that even if he wasn't as strong as before, normal attacks wouldn't work against him, so he decided to test some of the spells he had acquired through knowledge and study, and before he could attack, he found Chastel asking him to allow her to fight alongside him. He tells her that he doesn't think she's smart enough to set a trap, but she tells him that she will pave the way for him to eliminate the chimera. Zagan is surprised to see her use the power of her holy sword, even though her cleansing fire is not as powerful as Raphael's. She then rushed towards the chimera to finish it off and successfully blocked its attack to pave the way for Zagan to use his power on it, whereupon he delivered a crushing blow that caused its body to disintegrate, and he noticed a black mist hovering around its particles and guessed that this mist was its essence. Meanwhile, Chastel continued to smash the chimera's body as he was surprised at how fast it was and remembered how easy it would have been to kill it when they first met. He then turned to the chimera again and beat it until it faded away, and they succeeded in overpowering it. Chastel admired his new spell with which he was able to defeat the chimera, but he told her that it still needed to be improved to be able to affect a real demon, and as she realized how powerful he was, Zagan expressed his gratitude to her for helping him even though they were a wizard and knight, and felt that having someone he trusted to protect him from behind was a good thing. He then turned back to Raphael and began to use his healing spell to help him as much as possible even though it is not his specialty, while Raphael told Chastel that she has become a symbol of the cause of the reconciliation group because of its recent decisions and promised her that those who share his ideas will give her strength, and when she wondered why he used the name Oropaz, he told her that he was the one who had the idea of founding the group. Zagan was curious as to why he'd shed the blood of the mages, and he replied that he didn't cause their deaths because he wanted to, but he was always attacked by the mages for some reason, while he was trying his best to talk to them in a friendly way, even smiling to prove that he didn't hold a grudge. Zagan then realized that it was his terrifying smile that caused the misunderstanding between him and the 500 dead wizards, and told him that his smile showed so much hostility towards him when they first met in the tavern that all the customers ran away, so he told him that his intention was to warn him of the danger that Chastel was in. When Chastel approached him and asked him how many witches she had taken on when she first met him, he told her that he wanted to make sure she didn't get blood on her hands like he did to deserve to be the one to carry the cause of reconciliation on her shoulders. When she told him that she had taken on only a few witches, he realized that she was the person he was looking for, and Zagan shouted at him that he should look in the mirror because anyone who saw his terrifying facial expression would think that he was his enemy. Raphael then told Chastel to go back to the church while he took care of the people after her. She was surprised that he knew the identity of the people who wanted to get rid of her, and then asked Valifor to be the one to take his life after he finished his final task. Valifor was curious to know what her father was like from his point of view. He replied that he was a great dragon, and the most influential moments in his life were the moments when he fought by his side. Then he picked up his sword and headed out of the cave. He asked Zagan if she felt good now, and she replied that she didn't know if it was right to kill him anymore. Zagan patted her on the head and told her that she had made the right decision to believe him, and then decided it was time for them all to go home, and when they returned they found Ophelia waiting for them. Meanwhile, Clawell was worried about Chastel after he lost track of her, and the three knights failed to find her, and after he ordered them to leave and take a rest, it turned out that he was the one who wanted to assassinate her from the beginning, and he was angry at the fact that she does not die, and he was angry that the church lost 2 sacred swords with Chastel's rebellion and Raphael's support for her. Then he was surprised when Raphael broke into the church and wondered about his miserable condition and the loss of part of his body, almost half of it, and he told him that he had come to end the matter between them. So Clawell decided to take the opportunity to use poison on him and pretended to want to treat him, but he ended up seeing his hand fall before his eyes after Raphael cut it off. He then knocked him down and told him that this would be the first time he wanted to get rid of someone of his own free will, which made Clawell feel that he was in trouble and wanted someone to help him, but he ended up dead after Raphael finished him off with one blow and told him that he would join him soon. A few days later, Zagan found that Chastel knew that Clawell was after her because of his absolute belief in the integrity of the church and decided to return to the church in order to change the course she had started to take. Zagan jokingly tells her that the tea she's drinking now now contains poison. She freaks out and almost spills her cup, and when she scolds him for ruining something Nephilia made herself, he tells her that she didn't make the tea this time, and it turns out it was Valifor who was hiding behind the couch. She goes to her so they can have one last talk before she leaves, but finds that Valifor can't trust her yet. Before she leaves, she hesitates before asking her to visit them again, promising to do her best to make the world a better place for everyone, led by the Reconciliation Society. Then she was shocked to see Raphael standing behind her, physically healthy and encouraging her to go on. When she asked about it, he told her that he had regained his health thanks to Nephilia. She said she thought he was dead, and then Zagan told her that he was the one who told him about Clavwell, and that he was the one who made the tea for them. She was shocked that Raphael ended up working as a servant for Zagan in his castle after he decided to resign and leave the Holy Knights from now on, while Zagan remembered when Raphael came to them after his last mission and presented his head to Valifor, and she assigned him to serve Zagan and Nephilia, and Zagan felt that having a knight and a holy sword near him would help him learn more about the emblems of the demon lords. Valifor gave Raphael a prosthetic arm to replace the one he had lost, which made him feel grateful to her and promised to dedicate his life to her. After Chastel left, Zagan assigned Barbados to protect her. Then he was surprised when he noticed that Nephilia was upset about something and guessed that she might be angry that he left her yesterday in the castle and went to face Raphael alone, so he approached her closer and apologized for his behavior, while Raphael shielded Valifor's eyes with his hands because she is still too young to see such romantic moments. Valifor started writing in her diary again, but this time she was feeling happy and expressed her relief when Zagan appeared and saved her from Raphael's attack, and expressed her gratitude towards Raphael after it became clear that he did not cause her father's death and Chastel's help, and she aimed to become stronger so that she could return the favor to all of them. She then added that she quickly got along with Raphael as he is a great cook and is on Nephilia's level, but the only issue between them is that he gets in the way when she wants to watch Nephilia and Zagan together. Afterward, everyone gathered to eat the macarons that Nephilia had prepared under Raphael's supervision, and Zagan marveled that he was so knowledgeable about mage cooking despite being a holy knight, and when he started to eat a piece, he felt confused when Nephilia asked him to hold it gently. He hesitated before asking her to feed him herself. As she approached him with a macaron, Raphael slipped behind Valifor to block her view, but she managed to elude him this time and felt warmed by the sight of them. Then it was Zagan's turn to do the same. Raphael shielded her eyes and told her she was too young for such things. She told him they were barely holding hands and were expected to kiss decades later. When Zagan and Nephilia realized they were being watched, they both pretended not to notice so as not to spoil the moment. Valifor was excited to learn that Chastel was coming today and decided to prepare a feast for her. Zagan and Nephilia went shopping for the necessary items, and when the three of them arrived at the market, they drew attention because of how cute they were together. Zagan was relieved that Nephilia was fully acclimated to the city. After they finished shopping, she wanted to visit Manuela's shop, and he was worried because her shop always brings them trouble, but it turns out she wanted to visit to give her a share of her macarons. Manuela expressed her gratitude and wanted to try on the new clothes she had recently received, and although Nephilia was busy and asked her to do it another time, Manuela insisted on taking her to the dressing room. Meanwhile, Zagan noticed a phonograph on the table, and when Valifor asked him about it, he told her that it was a special device for playing music and that a group of magicians use it to create their spells, and that this device was made by the magician Victor Juan. Manuela told them that the device is currently broken and was found by a group of street kids who were hoping to sell it, but no store was interested in taking it, so they ended up leaving it with her. Zagan remembered when he was homeless like them, taking anything he thought was saleable for money and competing with other kids for valuable items. He decided to buy the phonograph and gave Manuela more money than it was worth and told her to do whatever she wanted with the money. Chastel was waiting for their return at the castle with Barbados and Raphael when she started to feel sleepy. When Zagan and the others returned, she greeted them warmly and told them that Clavwell's death had been declared an accident and she had been assigned to take care of all his unfinished paperwork, which had kept her busy all this time. Nephilia went to the kitchen to prepare dinner with the help of Chastel and Valifor, while Zagan went to his room to begin repairing the phonograph. While he was busy working, Barbados approached him and told him that he had to do something about Chastel's foolishness or she would die soon. Zagan thought he meant that someone was still after her, so he told him that there was more to it than that. She kept making mistakes every day, stumbling around and making such a mess that he couldn't sleep. He felt that someone was going to die at this rate, so Zagan coldly told him that he didn't mind. Chastel was making soup, and when Nephilia tasted it, she found it worse than the muddy water she'd had to drink as a child and hid behind the counter so as not to embarrass Chastel. She decided that she had to do something about it, seeing Chastel as a threat to their table, and suggested that she rest in the guest room and leave the soup for tomorrow. In the evening, Zagan finished repairing the phonograph, and when he turned it on, they all admired the music. He tells them that they can choose different songs to play depending on the occasion, which is the interesting part of the device. Then everyone sits down to eat at the table, and Barbados starts to irritate Chastel when he mentions that she sleeps with a stuffed toy, and she is surprised at the idea that he is listening to her through the shadows. He tells her that no one would want to spy on a stupid girl like her, then expresses his exasperation at being stuck with the task of watching her. Zagan feels drunk and finds that he has drunk a whole bottle after tricking Raphael and telling him that he had his permission permission, so he sticks a fork in his head after he almost reveals his assignment to guard her. Then he admired Nephilia's quick wit when she wanted to calm things down and reminded her that Barbados was the one who brought her here when she was poisoned, which made her feel embarrassed and grateful to him, while Barbados continued to treat her arrogantly, and she noticed that he did not deny the eavesdropping. Zagan ordered him to apologize to her for being at fault, but he refused to do so and preferred to eat the soup. Valifor and Nephilia were surprised that there was soup on the table even though they did not serve it, while Chastel's soup was well received, but he soon began to feel something wrong inside him before he lost consciousness. Chastel realized that the soup she had made was that bad and began to cry in frustration. At night, as everyone fell asleep, Zagan checked the phonograph and found that Nephilia was still awake. She told him that she was enjoying the dinner as she had never had a meal with so many people before. She was curious to ask him why he bought the phonograph, and he replied that it was just a whim for him and he wanted her to enjoy some music. Nephilia noticed that he seems sad when he remembers the past, but what happened in the store was different. He told her that when he was homeless, he didn't have a regular source of food, but he had friends with whom he shared bread and felt that he wasn't alone. Then he remembered that he had isolated himself in this castle and had not returned to the area since then, and wondered if anyone still knew him there. He then asked Nephilia to take the phonograph back to the street after he had finished improving and servicing it completely. Then they sat and listened to some music together. Zagan was surprised by her ability to sing and felt the same feeling he had when he first heard her voice. Then he offered to dance with her, and when he stood in front of her, he was shocked that he had no idea how to dance. Then Raphael appeared and told him that he could guide him to take the necessary steps, and the two began to learn to dance under his supervision, and the next day the people of the city were surprised by the sound of music from a back alley, and everyone began to dance to the phonograph happily, and it was like a festival that lasted all day while Zagan and Nephilia succeeded in learning to dance and became like butterflies flying in the sky under the moonlight.